hitting your goals by tracking your numbers. Why stats are important. Okay, so let's roll over to the next page. So we always want to start with the why. We're going to segue a little bit. We're going to mostly talk about stats, and I'm going to share our team stat sheet and how we keep track of our numbers. So always start with your why. So do me a favor, everybody, and let me see if I can make this side by side here. I'm not sure how to make it side by side. Okay, we're going to start with our why. And so I'm going to ask you guys simply what gets you up in the morning. So what gets you up in the morning? Unmute, and somebody give me an answer, please. Awesome. Nobody likes to get up in the morning. Okay.
Robbie?
Robbie?
Oh, I said getting the kids ready for school. That's the first and foremost thing at the top of my
That's what
day.
gets you up in the morning. Okay, we're going to get you to dream bigger, my friend.
Indeed. I need
Indeed,
that.
right? That's okay. I love it. I love it. Anybody else in the room?
Okay. So my big why is just, I want to be able to earn enough so my wife has an option of staying home to be a stay-at-home mom.
Wonderful. Great. Olivia?
If I'm being completely honest, like just making really good money gets me up in the morning.
Hey, you know what, Olivia? The only thing I want to hear is honesty. So I love it because I think most people want to make enough money to be able to do whatever they want. Kenny?
For me, it's just family and financial freedom.
Got it. Tina, do you have anything?
Yes, more than you guys, financial control is such a contribution and self-fulfillment that's more important than the money.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so we got some good answers, right? These are some of the other answers that I know that people come up with all the time. You know, they want a better family life. They want to own a home. They want freedom to travel, money to help others, giving back, early retirement, financial security, one of the things that Olivia talked about, right? I think that kind of sums it up. If you don't know what your big why is, we have a new coach that's coming on. Please meet with him, a productivity coach. And we also have a team leader who can talk to you and help you figure out what your big why is. Your why should be something that makes you jump out of bed in the morning, right? And it can improve year over year over year. It can get narrowed down, right? So we start this class with understanding as a real estate agent, you should have a big why, and then you should focus on having a great mindset, right? Mindset is everything. It's what drives you when you're feeling down. It's what keeps you doing more. So how do you start your day? So does anybody besides, you know, getting up and dropping your kids off, what else do you do to start your day?
Look at my calendar.
Okay, you look at your calendar. I love it. I know, Myrna, did you have an answer? Were you unmuting or you're just saying unmuted?
Yeah, I have I do the Miracle Morning routine or the Tony Robbins priming in the morning as soon as I get up from my bed.
Great. We're going to talk a little bit about that too, the Miracle Morning, right? And then Kenny, what about you?
My typical day is dropping off my daughter at daycare and then coming straight to the office to work.
Okay, so I'm going to focus a little bit on Kenny for a little bit. So why not just keep your sweatshirts on, shirt and sweatpants on, and just drop your daughter off and come back home? Why do you come to the office?
Because at home it's too comfortable and a lot of distractions, and I know myself best that if I come to the office, I'm more productive and focused. Okay,
great. So I want to talk a little bit about Steph Curry. I'm not saying that Kenny's in the same league as Steph Curry.
Wow. Good job.
However, let's talk a little bit about Steph Curry. Nobody in the room answer. I want only somebody on the Zoom link to answer. What is Steph Curry known for?
Scoring, dropping threes.
3 points, exactly, 3-pointers. Do you think that Steph Curry's stats were as great as they are now when he started in the NBA?
He was highly overlooked.
Okay, so I know that Kenny knows a little bit more about sports than me, like by a lot, okay? I have made the mistake of calling the Golden State Warriors the Golden Gate Warriors. So that should tell you a little bit about me and sports. I mean, I know that they're blue and yellow. That's good enough. And I know who Steph Curry is, okay? So Kenny and I were talking about this earlier this morning, and I said, Kenny, where did he go to college? What did you say?
Davidson College.
Okay, and how were his stats there compared to now? When he started when he got drafted to the NBA, who did he get drafted to?
The Golden State Warriors.
Okay, so he's been with the Golden State Warriors for a very long time, and he continues to improve. And we know he's known for 3 points, but when he got started, were there any weaknesses on his part?
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of considered a combo guard, so he wasn't really a point guard, a true point guard or a shooting guard. So he's kind of like a tweener. And, you know, a lot of them, they kind of do scouting reporting. They have pros and cons as to what makes them, a better athlete or why they should draft it higher.
So do you guys think that his coaches keeps track of stats for all the players? Yeah, right? So they keep track of their stats. And interestingly enough, I'm not sure why, but Kenny seems to keep track of their stats too. He's very interested in these stats. He's always telling me about them. And it's like Charlie Brown when he's talking about these things, right? I'm shaking my head and smiling and whatever. And he endures me a little bit. But I kind of want to talk a little bit about Kenny in this realm, because Kenny started out in real estate. You're now entering your 4th year.
Yes.
February will be your 4th year of when you got licensed,
Yes.
right? So when Kenny started out, Kenny was an interesting character. I knew Kenny from before real estate. We used to be a part of CrossFit. We were friends. And I just kept saying to him, you should, when he was looking for a house with me, I was like, you should be in this business. I don't know what you're doing. You should be in this business. Got his license. He joined my team, and he has been steadily growing. So in 2020, I think Kenny did about 3 million. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, that was your 2nd year.
Mhm.
His next year, which was, that was your 2nd year, am I right? Then
$3 million my first year.
your first, 3 million your first year, sorry. And then his 2nd year was 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And in that year, he did 7 million. And then we started keeping track of stats in 2021. I'm sorry, in 2020. And then in 2021, Kenny went from 3 million to 7.4, somewhere around there, 7.4 million. And then this last year, Kenny did 14 million, right? So progression all the way through. But I gotta tell you, Kenny and I were friends, but man, there were times I just wanted to shake him, because he just was dead set on doing things his way. He was going to come in and reinvent the wheel and make it happen and just do things his way. And then Kenny started practicing, and he started practicing at the things. He got a coach as well. So he had his coach, and then he had me coaching him on the team. And he started script practicing. He started doing more appointments. And the number one thing that I think changed for Kenny was what, Kenny?
Started asking for a lot of help.
Yeah. So his mindset had to change for that to happen. He had to see asking for help as a good thing, and not as, oh, I'm weak, or people are going to judge me because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, I was stupid.
Some of these things that were running through his head, right? That stopped him for asking for help. And so the other thing too is that Kenny decided to get on the court, right? And then he became more confident. As he started to know what he was doing, his confidence grew. So How do you get confident in getting clients into contract, Kenny? What are some of the things you did?
One is to also gain their trust
Mhm,
and also ask better questions
mhm.
and give as much information so that they can make the right decisions.
Okay, so some of the things that I observing from the outside, watching him on the team, watching his growth, Kenny was script practicing. Kenny, the first thing Kenny did this last year that made a difference, and there are a couple people on here, Tina is on here, and Myrna is on here, Brian's on here, Kenny's on here. About 7 or 8 of us got together at 6:15 every single morning, well, Monday through Friday, 6:15. We rolled out of bed, sitting in front of the Zoom in our pajamas if necessary, and we did the miracle morning, something Myrna just mentioned. So that means we started our day with doing affirmations, then we did appreciations, then we did box breathing. Box breathing is something that the Navy SEALs use to calm themselves very quickly in a very tense situation. Look it up online, you will see what it is. Just Google box breathing. The next thing we did was we did visualization, closed our eyes, and I would deliver the visualization, and people would see themselves stepping into a very successful day and a successful future. Then the next thing we did was we talked about what we were going to do for the day, how our day went the day before, and then we read together. We listened to a book. We went through Atomic Habits. We went through the 12-week year. We dabbled in a couple others, but those are the 2 that really made a difference for us. Atomic Habits is amazing. 12-week year is what we're using now to get to the next level. So practice makes perfect, right? Visualization helps your mindset, and also getting honest feedback. So every time Kenny would get this honest feedback, in his head, he kept hearing, I'm not smart. I'm, stupid, or whatever he was hearing, which wasn't true. Nobody ever said that, but that was his mindset. So he had to get over that and go, wait a minute, I'm just getting feedback so that I can hit my goals. So setting yourself up for success. So these are some of the things that successful people just do every single, chance they get. They practice every day, even if they don't have a game or a client. Kobe Bryant used to say that he would be on the courts before the team got in, and he would be the last one to leave the courts at the end of the day. He knew that every day could be his last, and unfortunately that day came way too soon. So we have to just, put ourselves out there, practicing every day. And if you don't take a shot, you're not going to be able to hit a target, right? So they took shots and were not afraid to miss the shots. Where are you not taking shots because you don't feel that you're a pro as yet? The way you get to being a pro is by taking shots, maybe feeling like you're being heckled by somebody who's not playing the game. It doesn't really matter about those people. You take the shots. This is your mindset. If your mindset is one of being a victim or you have excuses, then you'll never reach your goal. There's a book called Extreme Ownership. I implore you to read that book. Because taking extreme ownership means that you will stop blaming people. You'll stop going home and having the conversations about so-and-so said this to me, so-and-so made me feel bad. No, so-and-so, nobody made you feel anything. You can choose what you're gonna feel in any moment, right? And it also starts with taking responsibility for your futures, your actions, and the way you will think. Remember, you can change your mindset. The difference between who you are and who you wanna be is just what you do today. So now we're going to get to the meat of what you all came here for, was stats, right? Know your numbers. So there are 2 numbers that millionaire real estate agents always know. They want to know their annual goals, right? And they want to be able to track their actual numbers. So we monitor that on a weekly basis, really on a daily basis, but our team meets together every Friday at 11:30 a.m. and we go over our numbers and see where do we need to improve, or what help do we need, or we share some of the things that we learned for the week. If you want that kind of environment, you got to show up around the office, right? So that you can get that help. Oops, sorry. So let's get to the key performance indicators and how that works. We use a spreadsheet to track our conversion rates. I'm going to give everybody on here, I'm going to hand you the spreadsheet that it took us about 2 years to put together and make work for us. So you've got to understand, the reason why we track is so you can understand your conversion rates. So if you understand how you're converting, then you'll also understand where your strengths and where your weaknesses are. And you can work on those things. And that can improve your overall sales in a big way. So let's take a look at this. This was Kenny's numbers for 2021. Let me show you how we're going to read this. If you look at January, right in here, January through May, we weren't doing it on a weekly basis. We kept improving the system, right? So, but let me show you what we focus on. First, we have our goals in here. I'm going to, let's go down to where it says buyers. We have right in here, you see the 24. That's how many appointments. This was his goal for last year. To hit his goal, he had to do 24. And then he had to, he ended up executing on 18 of them. So in other words, he booked 24 appointments, only 18 of them were a show. So he keeps track, he's very honest, or that's what the goals were. Actually, what he ended up doing was 38.5 appointments booked and 34.5 showed up. So that's a really great stat, you guys. So between here and here, he had an 89% conversion rate. So if you have a conversion rate, I would say of about 70%, I consider you doing really great. He's at 89%. So whatever he's saying over here in his appointments to book them, he's getting them to show up. And most of these were in Zoom, right? If not all of them?
I think almost all of them
were in Zoom. So we love Zoom because now people don't have an excuse for getting stuck in traffic. I can't get over there, none of that. I don't care if your kids are screaming in the background, let's get this appointment so that we can get you educated, right? So if each one of these conversions that I'm going to show you, there's an opportunity for improvement. I'm going to show you how you win. This number here is just a number that we added for fun. It's how many buyers showing we do in a year. Keep track of it. It'll help you see if you need to get better at closing or choosing homes for your buyers or getting them to say yes to an offer. So between Kenny's 34.5 here of appointments that he secured and clients that he secured, 18 of them said, let's write an offer. That's about 52%. You can see that the number down here, I calculated it, it's 52%. So between the people that he had an appointment with and the people that decide to write an offer, 52%. Still really great. So is there room for improvement in this area?
Absolutely.
So if Kenny just improved and writing more offers there, not even increasing this number in here, in the executed appointments, if he just got more people to write, his bottom line would go way up. So this is why we take a look at stats, because then as a team leader, when I sit with them, I say, okay, you are meeting with clients and they want to work with you, but only 18 of them ended up writing offers and the rest kind of went away, or they trailed over to this year. And then of the 18 that he wrote, 10 got accepted. So let me tell you a little bit about what Kenny was doing by the end of the year. By the end of the year, Kenny's stats improved. He actually would have had lower stats as to how many offers he had accepted, except he got better about gaining the client's trust, showing them why they should get into a home, and just overall prepping with the clients to get ready for an offer. And then he also got in really good with the listing agent, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So he gained the trust of the listing agent, and the listing agent, I remember one person last year that said to Kenny, we're not doing preemptive offers. It was a 2.5 million.
Yeah.
Says we're not doing preemptive offers. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to wait and take offers next week. Kenny came back and talked to me about it, and I said, man, talk to your clients, find out if your clients are what number they're willing to come up to and give them a really good number. Kenny said they have to be at 2.5 million. What was it listed at?
It was 2.1.
2.1. So Kenny got his clients to come up $400,000 over. This house was not tricked out in any way whatsoever. It needed some work. So Kenny came in but he called the listing agent back, even though the listing agent said, we're not taking preemptive offers. Kenny got more daring. Kenny got bold. Take bold, you guys, if you're not taking it. Okay, I know you said no, but listen to this number, $2.5 million, no contingencies, 30 days closed. Will your client, oops, that just went away. Will your clients take a look at that? And oh my goodness, let's see here, hold on. Will your clients take a look at that? And they said, absolutely. They went home that night, took a look at it, and next thing you know, Kenny is in contract on something the listing agent said, we're not going to do it, right? So let me pull this back up here. And so Kenny improved along the way here in his conversion towards the end. So if Kenny just gets more people to accept the offer here, and if Kenny changes the conversion rate between here and here without working any harder, Kenny's going to increase his bottom line. This is why you want to know your stats, because sometimes we think we just got to get more, I said, no, you need to improve your skills, right? Don't be frightened to do the hard work, but you don't know this if you aren't tracking your stats. And if you aren't maybe meeting with a coach or meeting with somebody who will do some hard accountability on you to your goals, right? So now let's take a look at this year. So I took a look at all the, so let me go back up to the sellers. The reason why we're not discussing sellers here is because Kenny says, I want to do 4.9 million. And then he put no effort into getting any listings. He just focused on buyers because he was doing so well with buyers. The other thing too, I'm going to give you a couple hints. Kenny got very successful. He started improving his skills in sitting open houses. He got quite a few clients from open houses. Somehow he was able to say the right things, say the hard things, be the kind of personality that made them trust him. And then he just started picking up buyers just from sitting in open houses. And it's not sitting because you actually have to work. If you're at the open house, you have to engage. You have to walk, you have to dress professionally. You have to say the right things. And you learn this by taking the classes that talk about how to do open houses, by talking to the professionals in here, by maybe sitting down with Kenny and say, what do you do? I'm sure Kenny's going to be teaching the class this year on how to get buyers from open houses because he's so good at it. And so I'll tell you about one. Alan Wang had a listing. It was listed at 3.1. Multiple people sat that listing, and it went like you did it at 4 weeks or 5 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you did it at 4 weeks again. Did you do it at 5th week?
No, just for 3 weeks.
So he did it at the 3rd week and the 4th week. Some people would say, oh my gosh, that listing is stale. I'm not going to do it. It's not selling because it's the wrong price, whatever it is, right? Kenny was like, I want business. He went and he sat that listing, and it was listed at 3.1, somewhere around there. Kenny ended up getting a client who wanted to actually take his commission. And I said, Kenny, we don't do that. We just don't do that. This is your opportunity to show that you've gained the skill set to not give away your commission and show your value. Kenny did it. So we had a little bit of a thing we had to make work at the end, but Kenny did not just cut his commission for that. On the other side of things, Alan Wang had this listing, and he had a very difficult seller and he wanted to just like, let's get this thing in contract. So he worked with Kenny and I to get it in contract, and we did, but Kenny sat 2 open houses and he was 3.18 million, right? Somebody figure out what the commission at 2.5% is. Oh, it was a 3% commission. And we gave back 0.5% because it's normally 2.5% to make it work for the seller, right? Not to the client. To make it work for Alan, because we were partnering with Alan on it, right? So Kenny walked away. So what's 2.5% of 3.18?
3.18.
Or 3.1, I don't care.
77.5.
So Kenny made $77,000 minus his expenses for sitting 2 open houses, right? So Kenny gave up something, right? He has to listen to his wife, who would love to see him every weekend. And instead she just said, okay. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget this one. I'm going to let you guys know a little insight. Kenny had a baby shower that weekend with one of our mutual friends, and Kenny never looked in his calendar, and Kenny just booked it. And his wife had put it in his calendar, don't book an open house. Don't book anything. Kenny did it. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think Kenny was in a little bit of trouble for a little bit of time?
Big time.
So when do you think Kenny got out of the doghouse?
The big one.
When he came home 2 weeks later and said, honey, I'm in contract, $77,000 coming towards you. She was like, okay, good job, right? Sure.
When Kenny told me that, I was at that open house for 1 weekend, and I told myself, screw you, go do more open house.
Exactly. So you look at people who are being successful around you and you say, what am I going to do? Now, Tina is in here quite a bit. So Tina can sit here. She's here right now with us, and she shows up in the office. She knows that to be productive, she wants to put herself around people who are also making it happen, right? And she can have these types of conversation. So anyways, I'm just giving you some insight, looking at the stats as to where Kenny got some of his business from, because I don't want it to just be about stats. Where did he get the business? So some of these were from open houses. He also did open houses for our team listings, and he picked up a couple buyers there as well. He didn't get in contract on our listing, but he picked up a client and he was able to make it happen. So take a look at his stats here on the right, though, at the bottom, right here that I've got highlighted. Kenny did 89% of the booking appointments were executed. 52% of the appointments, the buyer signed up with him to work. 75% of the buyers who signed up to work with him wrote offers. 75%. So he's really great at executing on the appointments and really great at getting his clients to write offers. But of the offers that were written, 55% of them, only 55% actually got in contract, right? So the offers accepted to offers closed, he had a client fall out. So 15% fell out here for him. So not everything closes. Now let's go back and take a look at 2022. What are his goals and how did I come up with the numbers? So I came up with these numbers based on what he did last year, those stats. So if you take a look at this now, though, what we're tracking now is your care calls, line item 7, and your cold calls. Your care calls are the people that you know, the people who are in your database, the people who are on your Facebook, the people who are in your text, whatever it is. Those are the people that you know. Those are the Mets. The people who are on Mets are your cold calls. This might be a referral that actually somebody sets you away, actually kind of, but it's more like the guy in the park that you meet, the guy that you meet when you're on the volleyball court, the guy that you meet in a line in Safeway. You're at a party and you meet somebody and you get to talking about real estate. Those are your on Mets. Now, how did we come up with these numbers in here? The goals for how many calls he has to make in a year. So I'm gonna need you, Brian, to do some calculations for me. So if Kenny has to do 1,920 calls in a year, how many does he have to do per month? I think it's like 166.
160.
160. So 160 per month. And how many does he have to do if he works 22 days out of the year? So 22 days out of the month. Yeah. So 7, so I'm going to round it up to 8. So that means every single day Kenny has to do 8 calls, right? Now, is that manageable, you guys? Can you do 8 calls a day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely, you can do 8 calls a day. Now, let me tell you a little trick. Some sidebars I'm doing. If you put those 8 calls in command and you set them with a follow-up, now you have an automatic going out to those 8 people. You should have it going out like 4 times a year or 2 times a year. I would say 4 times a year for every single person in your database, right? And now you're an automatic. And actually command has an action plan that says call them quarterly, and you set that up. And it'll remind you every quarter to just call the same people, right? So these are just a little hints. So I want to stop for a moment and I want to unmute everybody. I'll unmute and tell me, do you understand just starting here? This is where it begins. It starts with your calls. It starts with your activity. It always starts with your activity. So does everybody understand METs and on METs? This is your lead generation. Does anybody have questions about that? If you do, please speak up. If not, I'll move on.
I understand.
Awesome. So look at the other 4 things that we track on top. There's door knocking. Oops, I'm on the wrong. Oop, nope, I'm on the right one. Okay, we track door knocking activities because if you do, say Kenny did knocked 100 doors this week, and then Kenny shows down here that he had 3 appointments booked. We're going to talk a little bit about why. Oops, sorry. We're going to talk a little bit about where that we're going to see that activities coming from this door knocking, these appointments, right? And so that might be a good thing for him to do more often. So this is why we keep track of this, okay? So remember, this is the beginning of the year so far. Kenny hit the floor running. He did 18 calls, 17, 11, 16, and Kenny was also showing appointments as well. So if you go down to the bottom here on the buyers, Kenny put in, he had 4 people agree to work with him. He had another one agree to work with him here, another one. So he's picked up 6 clients already this year. And then the buyers showing, he's hustling. He showed 4 that week, 8 this week, 12 the next week, 6 this week, and he's already at 10 this week, and the week is not over, right? We're just at the beginning of the week and he's already done 10. So Kenny fills up our calendar. If I could show you our calendar, you would see what Kenny's calendar looked like. On Saturday, it was just back to back to back appointments because he's hustling, because Kenny has a goal in mind. Let's start over here on the left with the goal. So actually close your eyes, Kenny, look away from the screen. What is your dollar goal for the year?
24 million.
Okay, tell me what you want to make for the year.
450,000.
Yeah, and don't look again, keep not looking. How many transactions do you need to do?
19.
Okay, and then there's a cost of sale. So you see, guys, he knows what he wants and he knows what his goals are. And I got to tell you, some of the time last year, I think if you asked anybody on the team, we didn't know our goals in the middle of the year. We really have dialed it in, and now we're different and we're very focused because Kenny has big numbers to hit. He did $14 million last year, and Kenny wants to do $24 million this year. So we took the stats and we dropped them in here. Based on these percentages that you see down here, based on the stats that we kept track of, This year, Kenny knows exactly what he needs to do to hit $19 million here and $4 million here. Now, this is a little bit of a guess up here because Kenny has not done listings before. So we'll adjust this if we need to. But I'm thinking that if Kenny gets 8 appointments set, he's going to probably get 75% of them in contract that are willing to sell with him. Then maybe he'll have one fallout, maybe, but I'm guarantee you if he has it signed, he's going to close it because this market is such that everybody is selling houses quickly unless you price it incorrectly. So he wants to do $4 million in listings. And again, he wants to keep focusing on what he loves. He actually loves working with buyers. $15 million to hit 19 million. So I can show you guys how to do this. Anybody who shows up on this class, I'm willing to do a follow-up class with and help them populate their numbers. And actually, I'd probably have Brian, Kenny, and I do the class together and help you all. If you show up in here, we can help you fill this out so that you can get rolling. Even if you start in February or March, we can get this done for you, okay? And that way you know what you need to be doing. So as Kenny fills this out, look at the numbers on the left. So the numbers on the left here, this is the goals right here. When Kenny populates anything over here, it shows what's remaining. It starts deducting it. And the formulas are in here, you guys. And so it'll tell you what you've done year to date and what's left for you to do. So the formulas are in here. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to drop your goals in here. So the hardest thing is figuring out your goals. And we need to come up with somewhat realistic, stretch it a little bit, okay? But we can help you do that, but you've got to show up. If I send you this, it doesn't help you at all if you don't understand how the goals work or what numbers you should be putting in. It doesn't mean anything. So we need to figure that out next for you. So Kenny said 1,920, and that means he has to do 160 per month. And so did Kenny hit that? Is that right? If he works 22 days a year. So let's say if he worked 22, that's fine. 22 days a year. That's 5 days a week and maybe run over. Say 20 into 116, Brian?
7.2, 8.
8?
Yeah.
Okay, so 20 days a year, right?
Yeah, 160 divided by 8. This one, yeah.
Okay, so say Kenny works 20 days a year. Well, I know Kenny works more than that. But if you take a look at it here, add this number. Oh, what has Kenny done so far? Total year to date is oops, this is wrong. Kenny has done 70, so he's behind 62. So the number is saying Kenny's at 62 per year. He's already behind. But where Kenny is improving, this number may drop. And here is why it may drop, because Kenny is already clicking on the appointments. He's booking people. He's got 6 people already signed. So this stats are already improved. He's gotten better, right? He's gotten way better. So he's done, if you take 44 and you divide it by 12, you have got, so 4. Kenny's already at 6. So this is why this number doesn't freak me out up here, because this number is what matters. Did Kenny get enough agreements signed? So he's way ahead of where he should be. So Kenny could finish his year at 9 months and just keep going, keep hustling, right? Or take a vacation sooner. And then he's already put in 40 showings already for the year. That's ahead of where he needs to be. Now let's look at how many he's written so far. Now keep in mind, guys, today's February 1st. Kenny has written 4 offers this year. 3 of the offers are accepted. Do you think Kenny's off to a good year so far? He's killing it. And I really believe a lot of why he's killing it is because Kenny sat down week 1 with me and said, let's get the goals down. And we sat and we did this. And I said, you know what you need to do? He said, yeah. And I said, okay, let's do it. And Kenny has been scaring everybody on the team. Because right now he's ahead of all of us, right? Because he has just got his focus on getting people in contract, helping them get into the real estate market. He's absolutely killing it. So he's got 3 in do you have 1 closing this week?
Yes,
So you have 1 closing in another day?
on the 4th.
On the 4th, okay. So he's got 1 closing this week. Okay, so starting to collect the checks and help his family for his big why. So he's got a big why, you guys, and I think that's what's driving him. And so as you fill in these numbers over here, it just automatically populates everything over here to the left. And you know where you stand. You just know where you stand. If you want extreme accountability, you take this into a coach and you get it done. If you're not on a team, try and find a team who has openings. If you don't want to be on a team, get a productivity coach. We just hired one. I hear he's fantastic. Don't know him yet, but he's coming on board in another week or so. I believe he's on the last end of COVID-19, like so many people around us. And so he should be here shortly. So don't get overwhelmed by any of this. This is just dropping in your numbers. I've done all the hard work for you, right? Our team has done the hard work. So let me just kind of back up a little bit and say, we were doing this on a whiteboard when we started in 2020. And then we were just trying to figure out, how do we calculate these numbers that Gary Keller tells us we should be looking at? So these are all Keller Williams numbers, right? Or systems. We just put it into a formula. And so we have this guy, Falca, on our team who's going to do it. Falca went to be a general contractor. Then we got this really great agent, Donna Tam. She came on board. She came from Apple program management background, and she put this together. And then it was in the months, and it just wasn't quite working. So then we got an admin, and our admin, Kiko, took it to a whole different level. So now it's humming. It's really great. So it's always a team effort to get to this place. So anyways, this is what it looks like. So I want to show you something. I took these numbers right in here and calculated, Brian and I calculated these numbers in here and made this work. So now Kenny knows for the year, Kenny has to do 97 appointments. So Kenny should have down on his, I'm pretty sure he does, or he will have on his board in front of him at his desk, he should have how many appointments I need to do monthly, weekly, daily. And he needs to look at this and see I'm here or here. I'm not there on the appointments booked. But boy, when I'm booking, I'm executing. This is awesome, 100%. So did that improve so far over the 89%? Yes. So executed over the agreement. Kenny is killing it. So some of this is probably left over from last year, right? The 6 that he got, who agreed to work with him at the beginning of the year. And then he started hustling. You cannot get people into contract if you're not showing homes. You can't do it. So it's all with the activities. I will do a follow-up class on this and talking about the activities you need to do and what skill sets you need for that, okay? So then when you're showing property, that doesn't matter either unless you can get them to write an offer. So what I'm trying to show you guys here is if I see that your stats are off, like when I took a look over here, let me go back again, and I take a look at Kenny's numbers over here, let me show you that what was off and what we were working on to get him to improve. I said, Kenny, just focus over here, you guys, on these numbers. If you take a look at Kenny's numbers between, and only look at the buyers on the bottom, between what he booked an appointment and what he executed, really good, 89%. Kenny can get them to show up. Whatever he's saying here is getting them to show up here. Now, I tell you what, the year before that, Kenny was maybe at 50% because Kenny was not saying the right things to get them to show up. Kenny got them to show up, you guys. It's amazing how he improved. So talk to me, Kenny. What are some of the things that you had to practice in order to get them to show up? What were some of the things we talked about?
Worked a lot with leading with questions, helping them be, me being a problem solver and a solution finder for them, and also being a better listener.
Bingo. So Kenny and I worked like crazy on his listening skills. And something I say to the team all the time, which a coach of mine said, actually it was Brian and I used to coach with this guy. He would say to us, become a master of questions. Learn the right questions to ask. And you learn that by some of the classes we've taken in here. We've also taken, I would say all three of us have taken Ignite multiple times. When I was a new agent, I took Ignite twice in the first year. And I was rookie of the year, my first year at KW Cupertino. But I just buckled down and I just focused on learning, being learning based. Don't try and come up with the answers. Don't sit there and be the person that's always jumping out there with the answers. Just learn, listen and learn, listen and learn. So Kenny needed to become a better listener. Kenny loved to deliver really funny lines. And I said, Kenny, that's for your benefit. You want to get a laugh, but that's not showing that you're listening to the client. Now, Kenny's a funny guy, but now he listens to the client and he can incorporate his humor in that. But first you gain the skill set before you can incorporate some of those other things about yourself. In other words, first you learn the script and then it becomes really natural. You sound like a machine at first. I don't care. Just practice the script. Am I right?
Absolutely.
So Kenny's listening skills had to improve. Now everybody's going to be different. I know people in this office that they don't like to take critique. And I can spot those people a mile away. And you know what? That's fine. It's no skin off of my back because it's your money you're collecting in your pocket. Do you want to have the answer? Or do you want to learn? I love to listen to all these people around me because I love to learn. I'm learning every day from people who are brand new to people who are Alan Wangs in here, right? You know, Alan Wang, he is our operating principal in here, but he's also a guy that's killing it, you guys. I am telling you, he's doing so many transactions a year and the dollars that he's doing is just incredible, him and his team, right? And that's because they practice, they hold themselves to meeting regularly, they know their numbers, and they have a mindset that's like a steel trap. As a matter of fact, one of the people in Alan Wang's team would show up with us at 6:15 in the morning, Ruben, and he would do the Miracle Morning. So we had Stacy Farmer here for a while doing it till her schedule changed. She was on there with us in the mornings at 6:15. She's our MCA, our Market Center Administrator. So people at any level that wants to be successful know that they have to wake up early and they have to sacrifice. If you don't want to sacrifice, then you're just going to keep getting whatever you've gotten before. I want you all to be successful. It's easy or it's simple, it's not easy, right? So I'm going to stop here again and ask any questions so far. Is this making sense? Or do you have any questions of me or of Kenny? If I don't hear anything in 15 seconds, I'll move on. Or somebody can give me a yay. Is this making sense to you?
I don't have a question, right? Okay. Go ahead.
All right, I have one thing to add.
Wait. Somebody was on here. Who was saying something?
I just said it makes sense. It all sounds great.
Awesome. Thank you, Olivia. I appreciate the feedback. And then Tina, what were you going to say?
You mentioned team, and I actually joined as a team at the very beginning. I log out into another office, I log in and I log out. I always tell new agent like myself that they have nothing to lose when you have no production. Find someone that can help you.
I can mentor you, right?
They can mentor you.
Exactly.
And because of my personality, I figure I should work better by myself. But I come to the office for help. I got so much any issues, questions I don't understand, I come to the office, people hold me up, help me,
Yeah,
and get my production going. Like our whole office, Yvette told me once, Tina, you're not solo agent, you have us.
yeah. So I agree that I think that there are agents in here who are solo, but they're not solo. Because I will say, so I belong to KW Cupertino. I also belong to another brokerage, Legacy. Alan Wang reached out to me. We were friends, and he reached out to me and said, when you come over here, start a team, bring your guys with you. I talked to Brian, I talked to Kenny, I talked to another team member, Falcon. I said, you want to go? Because here's the value I see with KW, Santa Clara Valley, and here's what I know of Alan Wang, and that he's trying to do, he wants to do a KW brokerage, but he wants to do things differently, and he is. We try to act in here like we're one big team. So even though we're on a team, there's no way you're gonna walk in here and have us ignore you. Now, we might be making lead gen calls, and we'll say, hey, can I get back to you in like a couple hours? Or can we meet via Zoom today? We're always willing to help, guys. We might need to tell you a time in our calendar when we can help you, but we're always willing to help. And I think everybody in here can say that about anybody on Petersen Realty team, is that we're always willing to help you. So, and I think some of the people on this, even on this Zoom right now, can tell you that that's true. I know I've worked with multiple of you on this team. I mean, on this Zoom link.
Can I make a point on the KPIs, Yvette?
Sure.
You know, for the conversions and the KPIs, the most important thing is to really be honest with yourself
Yeah.
when you're inputting them, because your activities and your numbers will reflect the results.
So the greatest temptation, that's a really great point, Kenny. Thank you. The greatest temptation we have, especially we're on a team, we want to look good. Guys, we all want to look good. We live to look good. And you know what? That doesn't get us anything in life. It doesn't get us the right spouse, the right friendships, the right brokerage, the right help. It just doesn't get us that, because we're living a lie. So we had this conversation at our team meeting last Friday, talking about how everybody lies. Now, who's quick to say, okay, that was a lie, I need to make that correction? And we were discussing the areas where we made missteps, and we had to come back and say, well, that I wasn't being quite honest there. Let me talk to you about it. We don't need excuses. We don't need to know why you weren't being honest. We all know why. There are a couple of reasons why we don't want to be honest. Kenny, what are some of yours?
Embarrassment and looking good.
Yeah, he wants to look good, or he's embarrassed. For me, it's want to be liked, right? Believe it or not. Brian, any of yours?
Saying want to be liked and afraid of looking silly or not knowing what I'm talking about.
Or afraid of somebody saying, what's wrong with you, right? Of getting hit hard. So let me ask you, let's go back to somebody who's successful. Let's go back to Steph Curry again, because we all know him, so I'm going to use him. Or I think most of us know who he is anyway. So Kenny talked to me about how Steph Curry, when he first got into the NBA, that he was skinny and gawky. Now, when you put him next to LeBron James, he still looks skinny and gawky. But when you just look at Steph Curry by himself, men start out that way. You're going to exercise your real estate muscles, your script muscles, your open house muscles, your door knocking muscles. You're going to keep doing this till when you look back a year from now, you're going to go like Kenny. I went from $3 million my first year to doing $7 million my next year. He went from $7 million in the pandemic year, believe it or not, to the next year, 2021, $14 million. He went over by 203,000. Okay, so so this is just it, you guys. So the class was for an hour. So this is all it's about. I will send you this right here. You've just got to track your numbers, right? So let me just say this, the 8 goal categories of the millionaire real estate agent is below: leads, listings, contracts written, contracts closed, money, people. As you build, this one takes over the top position, because people becomes everything to you. They will refer you, they'll get you into contract because they like you. Systems and tools, our team has got that dialed in, and it took us 3 years to do that. And then personal education, you've got to keep showing up for the classes, right? And asking for help, and show up at the office. So I know this is going to take 2 minutes, but here we go. I want you to get pumped up.
The devil whispered, "You cannot withstand the storm." The warrior replied, "I am the storm."
You are a warrior. You will get through the storm. You will show the storm who's what. You will show everyone you are stronger than all things that have hurt. You are stronger than your past. You are stronger than the challenges coming in your future. You will tell yourself, I don't invite life's challenge, but I don't back down from them either. I know we all face tough times. I know I'm not exempt from life's struggles, but I know I am strong. I know this will pass. I know there will be better days, but only if I keep fighting like a warrior, fighting with all my heart. The heart of a lion, the strength I have is like no other. I am not a survivor, I am a warrior. I don't survive, I thrive. I can do this, and I will get through this.
Warriors are built from the struggle, born from pain, strengthened by adversity. Embrace your challenges and push through them like the warrior you are.
You are stronger than your past, and you are stronger than the challenges coming in your future. The strength I have is like no one. I'm not a survivor. I'm a warrior. I don't survive. I thrive. I can do this, and I will get through this. I make the best of bad situations. I see the opportunity in the struggle. I go straight from my hardships. I'm thankful for my hard times. They make me stronger. I am grateful for the pain. It makes me raise again. I am grateful for the worst of times. It ensures my story will be a great one. From zero to hero. From nothing to something. From the bottom to the top. Here I come.
Nope, we are not going any further.
The devil whispered.
So guys, that's my presentation. That's it. I'm going to stop sharing. And then I know we're running a little bit over, but I'd love some feedback. I'd love some questions. I love, was this helpful? What do I need to give you guys? And oh, by the way, what you just heard, I listen to about 4 of these in the morning between my home and work. And you should see, I am a warrior, right? As I'm driving down the street, I am hitting my steering wheel. I don't care who's looking at me. I am hitting that steering wheel and I am going, I am a warrior. I am the storm. Move the hell out of my way because I'm coming at you today, right? So you guys, mindset, right? We're not always in the right place. I'll tell you, somebody just popped on here, Maha. Let me tell you about Maha and how she impacted me. I had a little bit of a tough time. I think it was sometime last year. I was burnt out, you guys. I was tired. And I just gave her a call to actually check on her because she'd been in an accident. She's one of our top agents in here. I think she's like number 3 in the office this year. And she just took the time just to remind me about self-care. Like if I'm not caring for myself, I am not going to be able to do this business. So we need to be balanced too in all of this, you guys. So any questions, you just unmute yourself and just say what you need to say. Any thoughts, any questions?
Am I talking too much? Can I say something?
Yes, but I want to try and give somebody on the Zoom call first. If anybody on the Zoom call.
Yvette, I just want to say thank you for doing the class. I think it kind of reminds me that I know last year I wasn't sure what was I doing or setting goals or having that intention. I think this year was just so clear. I think after going to the business clinic and doing the model, and it's right in front of my computer. It's basically, I started January and I was just like, what am I going to do? And I just kind of plan out my month. So I think it's just having that intention and knowing what you want. So then you plan and you go after that.
Yeah, I love it. Myrna and I were part of the same Miracle Morning group for a long time. Myrna is one of those people, she loves to get up early in the morning, not me. But Myrna would be up, she will have already been read, she went for her exercise, and I'm like, girl, you're exhausting me just by 6:15, right? And I had to learn to become a morning person seriously. So thank you, Myrna, for that. And then Olivia.
I was also just going to say thank you for this presentation. It was really, really great. And it's just awesome to be starting off like right here, you know.
It is.
So it's really, really exciting, and I'm ready for this year.
I'm excited for you, Olivia. I'm excited. Okay, I want to embarrass her and tell you all that I held Olivia when she was a baby. I've known her that long.
and I'll say I have all thanks to you that I even have my license, because you literally are the one who got me into all of this. So yeah.
Stacy just popped in to say that. Big congratulations to Olivia, our newest licensed agent. Oh my God.
Yay.
Olivia, I'm so excited that you're starting it off this way. No excuses. Olivia and I have similar struggles with our mindset, and she's here and she's like, screw that mindset. I'm going to do it, right? I know I need to put one foot in front of the other, no matter how I'm feeling. However, like Maha taught me last year, there comes a time when you know when you need to go do that massage, when you know that you need that rest day, right? You know when you need that little trip away, you gotta do that. Because actually what's interesting to me is when I watched Maha last year, she re-energized and she's full steam ahead. If you kind of look at her Facebook page, it's like, girl, where do you find time for sleep? But then I look at it and she also is doing fun things in her life. So anybody else want to say anything before we leave?
I just want to add a couple things.
Okay.
I also want to say that, you know, we focused on teams for this presentation, but this works just as well.
Oh my God.
The hard part is you have to be honest with yourself, like you guys said. And one thing, I don't remember what the exact phrase is, but you hit 100% of the targets you don't aim for, or something like that. I think I just butchered it, but if you don't have a goal in front of you that you're looking for, you're aiming for, that means you're aiming for nothing really, and you'll hit nothing. So that's why it's important to have those goals in front of you. And this business is kind of a grind. You see some of those numbers, you have to hit, you know, call 2,000 people, whatever, and it gets daunting. And that's why it's so important to have that big why that is powerful enough to make it painful for you not to do your activities.
Yeah, it'll carry you.
And these stats that Yvette has us tracking, those are really the only reason that we know what we need to work on.
Yeah.
So she talked about the conversion rates of Kenny's meeting with clients and getting them converted to actual being clients. And that only came because we track those numbers to figure out what skills need to be improved upon. So those stats show you, one, show you what you're doing well, and two, more importantly, show you where you need improvement.
Where you need growth. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you just improve in those areas without doing any more activity, you're going to hit bigger numbers. It just blows my mind. Why wouldn't you want to know your stats? So this year, you're not going to know all your numbers, okay? We're going to use a wild card for you and figure it out. But if you keep track all year long, next year, you're going to be humming, okay? So could you do me a favor, Brian? Could you type in my email address in there? Everybody copy my email address and just send me an email if you want this sheet. Oh, and then now so type that in there, and then Tina, what's your question?
Okay, I want to thank you for being so generous for sharing this. You guys know how much love Yvette and his team put into this one. And I also want to pump new agents, because this is starting the third year for my licensing.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are just saying, Tina, I haven't produced anything. I want to share my embarrassing past. I didn't on record do much for the first year.
Mhm.
And then last year, I hit 30 million goal. And so like, hey man, you can do it. A lot of top agents did not perform the first or second years. Doesn't mean they're not a good one. So keep grinding up.
Keep grinding. So you heard that, you guys. By year 3, she was doing $30 million. That's amazing.
Yeah,
So by second year. Okay, so I know we're way over the time. Everybody can do this. So you have to talk to people and you have to ask questions and you have to be bold. Be bold. I hope everybody on here is taking bold. If possible, do it. I know that everybody on, well, the 3 of us in this room on our team are taking bold as well. So we'll see you on Thursday. Awesome, Tina too. So 4 of us in this room are taking bold. There's my email address, Yvette@PetersonRealtyTeam.com. Peterson is all E's, no O's in there. And just send that over to me and I will send you the link to this, to our KPI spreadsheet, okay? Thank you all. I appreciate you all showing up and I hope you have a wonderful day.